Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're really focusing in on entrepreneurial success, some key strategies.
Yeah, we've been digging into a great conversation with Alex Hormozi on the Diary of a CEO.
Right. And the goal here is to pull out the really actionable bits, the insights you could maybe think about or even use right away. Doesn't matter if you're just thinking about starting something or, deep in the scaling phase.
Exactly. The source is it's a pretty raw YouTube interview. Hormozi, he's known for actually doing it, scaling businesses, and he's super direct, no fluff.
Mm-hmm.
And it covers, everything from mindset, that initial fear.
Yeah, the stuff that gets people stuck.
Right, all the way to advanced growth strategies. It's a real gold mine.
And it's relevant because, look, Hormozi's worked with people at all levels, right? 0 to $1 million, 1 to 10, even up to 100 million.
Yeah. So think of this as maybe a shortcut, getting to the core ideas, the frameworks that actually work, stuff the learner audience really looks for.
Okay, so our mission today, let's distill the best, maybe even the most surprising insights from Hormozi, give you a clearer path, some actionable steps, the right mindset.
Sounds good. So where should we start? Maybe with that foundational piece, overcoming the fear.
Yeah, let's do it. That initial hurdle. Hormozi talks about his own experience, leaving a pretty comfortable setup.
Right, the white-collar job, the condo, everything looked good on paper.
But he felt afraid. Not of failing necessarily, but afraid of not trying.
Exactly. Afraid of not living up to his potential, even though everyone else probably thought he had it made. It's less about the perfect idea and more about the willingness to just, execute.
Mm-hmm. He argues a mediocre idea done brilliantly beats a genius idea done poorly. It's about the doing.
Yeah, and that fear he felt, that's the friction, isn't it, between comfort and the unknown of starting something.
Totally. And his wife Layla's quote is great here. Fear is a mile wide and an inch deep.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, it feels huge beforehand, but the actual first step, often not as bad as you think.
It's the buildup, the anticipation that paralyzes you.
And Hormozi makes this really important distinction, doesn't he? Between fear that stops you,
which he calls cowardice, pretty bluntly.
Right, and the fear you feel, but you act anyway. That's courage. It's not about not feeling fear.
It's about managing it, not letting it call the shots.
Yeah. And he talks about consciously, overriding that initial fear response, shifting from the emotional brain, the amygdala,
the panic button,
to the logical part, the prefrontal cortex, making a deliberate choice.
So how do you actually do that?
Well, one practical thing he suggests is getting specific, take those big, vague fears, all fail, and break them down.
Like what specifically is the worst case scenario?
Exactly. I'll be homeless. Okay, drill down. Maybe it's, I might have to live somewhere smaller for 6 months. Naming the monster takes away its power,
Right. And he even says those embarrassing moments often become funny stories later.
Totally. It reframes it. And this idea of guaranteed misery.
Oh yeah, staying where you know you're unhappy.
Versus the potential of something else, even if that something else is uncertain. Why choose the guaranteed bad option?
It's that delay discounting thing too, isn't it? We prefer comfort now over potential success later, even if staying put causes more pain long term.
Absolutely. It's a psychological trap.
Okay, so you tackled the fear, you decide to move. What next? How do you figure out what to actually do? Hormozi seems pretty down on the whole find the perfect idea thing.
Yeah, he is. He hates that winning lottery ticket mentality, like Andrew Wilkinson's tweet he mentioned.
Here's the winning number for my lottery ticket. Yeah, sums it up.
Instead, he pushes towards first principles, those basic truths that always apply in business, no matter the trends.
And for him, a big one is time, right?
Time is the currency. It's finite. So whatever you do, it should aim for the highest possible return on your invested time. That's the core principle.
Okay. And he simplifies the whole business thing down to 3 levels.
Yeah. Attract attention, convert attention, and deliver the goods. Simple, right?
Attract, convert, deliver.
And the leverage comes from doing each part really efficiently, getting more output for less input.
So like creating content that reaches thousands versus cold calling one person at a time.
Exactly. Or automated sales versus a huge sales team, scalable products versus one-off services. Maximize that leverage.
Got it. So where do the actual ideas come from then, if not lottery tickets? He has that framework, the 3 Ps.
Right. Pain, past profession, and passion. Super practical.
Okay, break those down. Pain.
Pain is a problem you have or you've had, something you understand deeply. Past profession is using the skills you already have, things you've been paid for before. That's a proven path, market validated usually.
And passion.
Passion is what you're genuinely interested in anyway. what you'd research in your free time.
The pain one seems really powerful, like his nose breathing example.
Yeah, because you get the customer. You are the customer. You understand the nuances, the frustrations, that personal story, that narrative.
It connects more than just data.
Way more. He talks about that missionaries versus mercenaries idea. The missionary is driven by solving that real pain. It's authentic.
That makes sense. Okay, let's talk about getting attention then, especially looking ahead, like 2025. Things change fast.
They do. And he says those old, just purely transactional approaches, buy my stuff,
Yeah.
they're dying out.
Yeah, people tune that out. Too much noise.
So the key is building a brand premium, making people want to buy from you specifically, not just anyone.
Building an audience that actually cares.
Right. And that takes, well, two things working together. Long-term, consistent, valuable content. Build that authority, that trust.
And short-term.
Short-term,
Yeah.
outreach, go to your network, people you know with really good offers, direct action.
But the core strategy for 2025, he really hammers this point.
It's having the courage to just be yourself online. Authenticity.
Resisting that urge to water yourself down.
Yeah.
Even if you get pushback.
Exactly. He mentions his wife Layla again, advising him, never delete yourself. Trying to please everyone means you connect with no one. You just blend in.
And being unique means there's no roadmap, right? It takes guts.
Totally. There's no blueprint for being you. That's why it requires courage. He uses that mosaic analogy.
Oh yeah, building your brand piece by piece over time.
Yeah, all your different authentic pieces, your colors, creating the whole picture. And it's okay if that picture changes as you grow. Your brand evolves.
That's a good way to think about it. Okay, shifting gears again. People. Hiring. Hormozi says first-timers really miss the boat on this one.
Oh, massively. They underestimate how critical the team is. He talks about that perspective shift. Right?
Yeah, the 20s focus on destination, 30s on the journey.
And 40s, it becomes about the company, the people in it, recognizing that the organization's potential is tied directly to the brain power inside it.
If you're always the smartest person in the room.
You've got a problem. You've hit your ceiling. He mentions that square root principle, too. A small number of people often do half the work. Stars matter.
And your hiring standards have to keep going up as you grow.
Absolutely. Experienced founders develop pattern recognition. They know what great looks like in different roles. It's like assembling something complex.
But if you're starting out, it's an unknown unknown. You don't even know what you don't know about hiring.
Exactly. So his advice is super practical. Do the job yourself first.
Real learn it, document it.
Demonstrate it. Then and only then can you effectively duplicate it by hiring someone.
And that moment when you accidentally hire a real star, that changes everything.
Totally transformative. You suddenly see the leverage a great person provides, and it cascades, right? Stars hire stars.
And the opposite. C players hire F players. Ouch.
Yeah. It highlights how crucial those early hires are, and also how dangerous it is to keep underperformers or bad cultural fits. The rotten branch idea.
Letting someone go is hard, but he frames it as correcting the initial mistake.
Right. The pain isn't the firing. The pain was the bad hire in the first place. Like admitting in a fair that a tough conversation is necessary because of the earlier mistake.
And not having those tough conversations leads to that quiet dissatisfaction.
Exactly. It's like a virus. It lowers standards for everyone. Culture isn't posters on the wall. It's what actually gets rewarded and punished day to day.
So you need operational definitions.
Yep.
Like specific expectations.
Yeah, like his examples. Clear background on calls, Slack response times, tangible stuff.
And for early hiring, if you know, you're probably bad at it.
Assume you are. Decentralize the decision. Get your best people involved in interviewing. Don't rely just on your own gut feeling.
Like the SamAtSchool.com example, interviewing hundreds, asking for referrals to find the absolute best.
Yeah. And that links to his 5 experts method for learning quickly. Apply it to hiring. Talk to experts in a role to understand what great actually means.
Which should you ask them?
Focus on metrics they track, the behaviors they use to influence those metrics, and the impact on revenue. Real results stuff.
And use that assume I know nothing approach, Feynman technique.
Yeah. If they can't explain it simply, they probably don't truly understand it. Cuts through the jargon.
I like the co-founder pitch analogy for early hires too.
It reframes it, doesn't it? They're investing their time and talent, just like investors put in cash. You need to sell the vision.
And the barbell strategy for hiring.
Right. Focus on the ends. Young, hungry learners and experienced pros who aren't just climbing a ladder. Less focus on the middle.
Interesting. And finally, that idea that naivety can sometimes fuel innovation.
Yeah, sometimes not knowing the rules lets you break them. You rederive things from first principles, potentially finding better ways.
Okay, let's talk about the journey itself, the ups and downs. Hormozi has this 6-stage life cycle model.
Right. Starts with uninformed optimism, that honeymoon phase.
Then informed pessimism, reality bites.
Then the big one, the value of despair or crisis of meaning. This is where many get stuck.
The trough of sorrow.
Yeah. If you get through that, you reach informed optimism, realistic hope, and finally, stability and mastery. But lots of people cycle back to that despair stage.
The crash and burn loop,
Yeah.
starting over and over again.
Exactly. And the key is realizing this is kind of normal. It's not just you failing, it's a phase. Understanding the cycle helps you navigate it.
And one thing that keeps people stuck there is niche slapping.
Yeah. Trying to do too many things at once, it feels like hedging, but it just dilutes focus, spreads you too thin.
So you never get traction in anything.
Pretty much. He stresses focus, commitment, sometimes literally eliminating other options, burning the boats is what it takes to break through.
It's a war of the heart, he says, more than just the mind.
Yeah, that emotional resilience matters hugely, and thinking your divided attention can beat someone's laser focus, that's just arrogant, really.
He also points out owning multiple things isn't the same as being a great CEO of any of them.
True, you're just spread thin. The real power comes from compounding focus over time. Year 0 of a new thing versus year 4 of something established.
Yeah.
Huge difference.
And that quote about success being about doing the obvious things for a long time.
Without believing you're smarter than you are.
Yeah.
Consistency and humility, not constantly jumping to the next shiny object, restarting at level 3 instead of learning to beat the level.
It takes patience. And accepting your first idea is probably wrong.
Right. Almost certainly wrong in some ways. It's all about iteration, correction. Beginners think idea, success fail. Experts think about tweaking the components.
Which flows right into that next point.
Yeah.
Wanting to be successful versus just wanting to be right.
Yeah, huge difference. Are you clinging to your original idea to prove you were right? Or are you adapting to actually win?
Being right doesn't pay the bills.
Exactly. Successful founders are willing to change, adapt, even step aside if needed, like those examples of CEOs leaving the role.
Gymshark, others, they put the business first.
Because building something truly lasting takes time and different skills at different stages, which brings us back to recruitment being paramount.
The Steve Jobs idea again. A player's hire, A players.
Right. It creates a high-performance culture that kind of polices itself. And crucially, what an A player is changes as the company grows. Your needs evolve.
Okay, Hormozi also gets real about the less glamorous side of things, the grind.
Yeah, the glass chewing. At every level, there are new, unexpected problems. It never just gets easy.
And people don't usually quit dramatically, they just fizzle.
Yeah, they stop putting in the effort, get complacent. Maybe success traps them. The innovator's dilemma on a personal level.
Like sticking with blogging when video's taking off because blogging worked before.
Exactly. You get stuck in past successes. He uses that more, better, new framework for resources.
70% core, 20% adjacent, 10% moonshots.
Right. And crucially, don't pull your stars from the core, the 70%, to work on the new stuff, the 10% too early. Protect the engine.
Strategy is basically just prioritizing limited resources against unlimited options.
That's it. Making choices and testing. Experimentation beats guessing. Run the ad tests, compare the lead costs, data over gut feelings.
Okay, what about learning? Mentors. Does Hormozi think you need a mentor?
Not strictly, no. But learning from people ahead of you, absolutely essential. His focus is more on modeling behavior.
Watching what successful people do, not just what they say.
Yes. Study their actions, their habits, their decision-making, and then implement those behaviors yourself. That's the key to faster progress behavior change.
He contrasts that with vaguer stuff like manifestation. Focus on the actions.
Right. Define the gap, the delta between where you are and where you want to be. That gap represents the skills you need to learn. Education, even if it's not a popular word sometimes, is fundamental.
He talks about pirates versus practitioners.
Yeah. Pirates know about things, declarative knowledge. Practitioners know how to do things, procedural knowledge. You become a practitioner through doing, repetition, feedback. High volume is key.
Learning by doing, basically.
Fast. And he distinguishes between being an educator aiming for behavior change and an entertainer just holding attention. Education buys you time by learning from others' mistakes.
And that founder mode idea.
Yeah, the person who built it just knows it differently. That deep, often invisible understanding. It's why copycats usually fail long term.
They only see the tip of the iceberg.
Exactly. 99% of the work, the learning, the iterations, it's all unseen. They can't replicate that foundation.
Okay, last big area, work, love, happiness. The personal side. Hormozi's view seems intense.
Well, it's evolved for him. His current philosophy seems to be work hard is the goal. Finding joy in productive work with people you like.
He kind of rejects traditional work-life balance.
Seems like it. He sees that as still being destination-focused. For him, the satisfaction comes from the challenge itself, like writing his books. It was hard but fulfilling.
And happiness is personal, right? You define it yourself.
Absolutely. It might not look like what society tells you it should look like. He talks about the courage of being happy, resisting those external pressures.
This should.
Yeah. And he asks that really deep question, why do you think life needs to be meaningful? Challenging a core, often unexamined belief.
The beliefs we don't question are often the most powerful ones.
For sure. His current take on meaning. The output of experience is learning. So be intentional about what you choose to learn from your experiences.
Wow. Okay, lots to unpack there. So boiling it down, key takeaways for our listeners.
I'd say, first, fear is normal. Act despite it by making it specific and weighing it against the misery of staying stuck. Don't aim for fearlessness, aim for courage.
Okay,
Build your brand by being authentically you. Consistency and courage online matter more than ever. Don't dilute yourself.
And third,
people. Building a great business is fundamentally about building a great team. Make learning how to hire effectively a top priority and keep raising your standards.
great summary. And if people want more,
Definitely watch the full interview on The Diary of a CEO. It's the episode titled The Man That Makes Millionaires Turns $0 to $10K with this step-by-step formula. Alex Hormozi. Loads more detail there. And his books too, obviously.
excellent. So a final thought for everyone listening. Maybe think about this. Which unspoken shoulds about business, success, or even happiness might be holding you back right now? What assumptions are limiting your view of what's possible?
Good question to ponder.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for diving deep with us today. Keep exploring, keep learning. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.